draw the stars, we'll draw the ship. And the position is going to be ship position. And again, it's what? No tinting. Does anybody know why I put drawing of the ship after drawing of the stars?
Yeah, you want the ship on top and not the...
Yeah, you want the ship on top, that's right. So here's our ship. You'll notice it's not really in the top left, but that's only because the game orientation, or the assumed orientation for a game, is landscape. You can change that if you want, but that's the assumed orientation. Yes? Is there a question?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so one more thing we're going to add here is moving the ship around the screen, because it's no fun unless it moves. So we're going to have a variable here for the ship speed as well. And then you guys have to dust off your vector math for this kind of stuff, I'll tell you. That's a vector 2, and we're going to give it a speed of about 100 something per something. So then what we're going to do is in the update loop, this is where the game universe updates, but it's not involving drawing. So this is where we figure out how much movement needs to go on the screen, where a character is, if a character's dead, you know, that sort of thing. So here we're going to say that the ship position is increased by the ship speed times something we're going to convert to a float. So that's a floating numeric variable. And I'm just going to split this on 2 lines so you guys can see it. We're going to take the game timer, lapse game time.total seconds. This is an important thing to use because the update may not fire on a regular basis, but the game timer always keeps you know, a nice steady beat of what's going on in the game. So we'll run this. We should have some movement in our game. I don't know how well this will translate across the live meeting.
No, you're good.
So there's our ship, and uh-oh, what happened? Lost it. Okay, go. Good. Because it doesn't know, the game doesn't know when we run out of screen. So what we're going to do, and I'm not going to type this here, I'm just going to add a snippet of code that I added earlier to actually bounce my ship. And it's just saying, you know, if the X position is past the width, reverse the X position. If the Y position or the X position is less than 0, reverse that. So it's basically going to give it a bounce. Pretty straightforward stuff. So now our ship's going to go around the screen, and at some point it'll bounce. Great. There it is. So space is not infinite anymore. All right, a few other things we can do in this game to make it more worth 99 cents is we can add some sound. So I could bring in a sound effect if I add an existing item, bring in this UFO flying sound, and then I want to play this sound. So I basically need a variable for that. So I create a sound effect variable.
Hey Glenn, feel free to ask questions too, because I have some swag to give out for people that answer the question. Yeah.
Okay. What color shirt am I wearing?
Green.
Red.
Blue. Red.
You're not wearing your shirt.
That wins a t-shirt right there.
Yeah, that does, I agree.
I'm not confirming or denying, but that's pretty funny of a remote presentation. So I have my variable for my UFO sound and an instance of the sound effect that I'm going to create and play. And so now when I load the content, I'm going to bring that in here. So I need this sound effect for UFO flying. I'm going to create the instance. I'm going to set it up as a loop, and then I'm going to play it. And we'll wait till the sirens go by. Alright, so I'm going to unmute my PC and turn it up really loud, and we'll see if we get some sound effects here. Alright, so we're getting there. And then you can just leave leave your phone sitting on your friend's desk or hiding under his desk and just let that go. You can also do cool things. We're not going to do it here, but you could pan the audio left and right. You could introduce Doppler effects for objects moving closer or farther away, so that's pretty neat. What I want to do, one more thing that I want to do with this, well, actually two more things real quick. One is I'm going to add some touch interactivity to the game. Right now, it's not a game, it's more or less a movie. So we want to do some interactivity with this. So I'm going to bring in another sound effect, and this is going to be sort of a hit sound, like a laser blast. We'll bring that in. And what we're going to do is load that again into a variable real quick. Alright, and then we're going to put this snippet of code down in here. Oops. It's right here. Nope, that's not where it goes. We need to load the content again. And this is called hit. And then what we're going to do is, in the update, we're going to check to see if the user has touched the screen. Then again, okay, this is where it is. So we're going after something called touch collection of the touch panel. Your phones support up to 4 touch points. In this particular game, we're only going after the first touch point. So in this case, if we've got any points where the user is touching the screen when this game is updating, we're going to take the first touch location here. And if it's pressed, meaning the user is touching the screen as opposed to removing their finger from the screen, we're going to create a point from that position. That's here, touch point. We're going to take a rectangle that represents the ship's position, and then if the rectangle contains the touch point, we're going to play the sound. So let's run that. And now, again, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but if I click on the screen, I don't get a sound, but if I click on the ship, I'm getting a different sound. Can you guys hear that?
Kinda.
Kind of? Okay. Well, I'm going to give you one more quick thing that'll be a representation of the hits, and that's text. So if I want to put text on the screen, what I need to do is create a font file. And a font file is simply an XML file that identifies a font that I want to use, in this case, Sego UI Mono, a font size, which is 22 points, spacing, kerning, all that kind of stuff. I define the font, and then I use this font to display a string of text to the screen. I'm going to create a variable up top that's going to hold my score. Oops, no. It's going to be sprite font, game font. And I need a position for my text. Text position equals new vector 2. And we're going to put it just inside the top left corner of the screen. And then I need a variable to keep track of my score. We're going to start at 0. We'll load the font in our load content here. Content.load. We're going to convert it to a sprite font. Game display. Notice you don't need the .sprite font extension because here the asset name is simply game display. And then whenever the user scores a direct hit on the spaceship, we're going to add 1 to their score. And then when it's time to draw, we will draw our score. So we're going to draw it using that game font. We're going to have the words score followed by the actual number, and the position is that top left corner. And this should make our game worth 99 cents. So clicking on the ship, I get a score. Clicking off the ship, I get no score. So that's how you can draw some text. All right, so everybody get their credit cards out. 99 cents, you can make it payable to me. Edwin, are there any questions out there?
Any questions? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so you're talking about those 99-cent, ad purchase. Is there an ad model in Windows Phone?
Is there an ad model in Windows Phone?
Yes, there's definitely an ad model in Windows Phone. Not only that, is we have a very easy way for you to add an ad banner to the bottom of a Silverlight app, or in fact, if your game, if I wanted to have a banner at the bottom advertising, things while the user's shooting at UFOs, I could absolutely do that. It's a very easy control to add. You get the same revenue model, which is 70-30. So you would get 70% of the ad revenue. And it's based on impressions, although really the number is based on total clicks over time. But it is based on impressions. So you just need to be showing the ad banner, and you can make a nice revenue stream from that.
Yeah, if you guys want to do some type of hackathon or work on this, I can help you monetize your apps. We've had students actually win a lot of money monetizing apps. Go ahead.
Another thing I was just wondering is, what sort of gesture support does Windows Phone support? Like have custom gestures like for your app or other things like that?
What type of gestures does Windows Phone support? What was the last part?
And can you have custom gestures?
Can you have custom gestures as well?
Yeah, there's standard gestures you can support, which would be swipes and flicks and pan gestures, pinch and zoom, zooming in and out with multiple touch points. You can interpret those as gesture right on the touchpad, which is great because you don't have to calculate how far does the user move to tell the difference between a swipe and a flick. You can just receive it as that actual event. If you want a lower level, then you can absolutely go after the raw touch points. But in fact, most games are gesture driven just because it's less calculations for you have to do.
Okay, another question, Glenn?
Can we get test phones to test our apps on?
Can you get test phones to test your apps on? I am the person to do that. If you want a test phone for testing your apps, email me. Let's make it happen. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You can also email me.
And you can email Dean. Email both of us. We'll put your email address up here. But don't email us separately so you end up with 2 phones. Go ahead.
Is there an equivalent to interface builder for this?
Is there equivalent to interface builder to this, Glenn?
For interface builder, that would be where you're actually writing Silverlight applications. That would give you a true design surface. I think Edwin's going to show that maybe in a bit. And that's more of a drag and drop, and I want to bring some buttons and a list box and some check boxes on. That is really not very well suited for 2D and definitely not for 3D gaming. You need to use the XNA framework like we're doing here, where you're basically drawing everything yourself. Now that being said, you're not going to be expected to write line after line of code if you've got really complex game elements. Instead, you would wrap those up into a game component, and then the game system would say, hey, component, update yourself or draw yourself, and it would take care of that. It would take care of any interactivity that it's doing, two spaceships crash together, they would need to both deform a certain way. So you can have all those things talking to each other, but again, you do have to write all the code to do that.
Okay. A lot more questions, actually. I'm going to reserve the shirts for
Okay.
good questions, because